Breakfast. Our next guest did just that and is using that knowledge to give back to his community. Here with more is law student and community activist Brian Provo. Good morning, Brian.
Hi, Diego. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be back.
Hey, man. Nice to have you here. And let's talk about this. When did you know that this was something you wanted to get into and learning about your family history? What was that? Was there a turning point for you?
I think there might have been multiple turning points. Actually, I remember as a child seeing my mom visually frustrated after receiving numerous rejection letters from the government, not recognizing her indigenous status. One of the last rejection letters that she received said that you are not an Aboriginal person, your mother is white, and your father is Negro. So myself, I was always curious to find out our history and why she was being rejected. And so before starting law school in 2020, I took the summer to research, not knowing that it would take me on my own personal journey. So I went through sites such as Ancestry.com and other online chat rooms dating back to the early 2000s, and I was actually able to locate a small town in Northern Ontario where my great-grandmother was born. And from then, I went through the local Yellow Pages, and I saw that there were many people within this small little town in Northern Ontario with our last name. And my mother and I sat down one day, and we just randomly called one of the numbers, and ended up being a long-lost extended family member who was also searching for us on that side.
That's amazing. So when you meet these family members and you guys kind of connect, what is that conversation like, and what did you learn from that?
From that, well, I want to say maybe one thing I realized from this experience is that there's no greater journey than finding out one's own history, which is extremely important to who you are in the present and will be in the future. Once I was able to get in touch with our family up north, they sent us old family photos and documents from the 1700s. So, for instance, I learned that our great ancestor, Charles de Langlade, was one of the wealthiest fur traders and war chiefs in the Great Lakes region. And he led bands of Ottawa and Three Fires Confederacy warriors to defend Quebec and actually defeating George Washington in a battle during the Indian War. And he then allied with the British to defend Canada during the American Revolution, later establishing a fort in Green Bay where he became known as the father of Wisconsin. So once we received all this information, I was able to finally apply for my mom's application and citizenship approval into the Métis Nation of Ontario. And for me, this is important because all generations of my family to come will now have access to this knowledge and rights. And however, for myself, at least, it's not about what these rights can do for myself, but rather what we can do to advance the community and the nation itself.
I mean, you talk about the Métis side of things, and it's amazing because you're destined for greatness since then with your family history. But you're doing work in North Preston as well. Talk about that side of your family and what you're doing there.
Yeah, my mother and my father are both from the community of North Preston, Nova Scotia. And as I'm going to mention now, it is the largest and one of the oldest Black communities in Canada. Unfortunately, many of these historic Black communities, which predate the country itself, are disappearing due to gentrification projects and legal issues over land ownership and other economic challenges which the pandemic has brought us. And fortunately, there's no greater example of this than Africville, Nova Scotia, which was a thriving Black community near Halifax Harbor, and it was actually denied public utilities such as electricity, public transportation, and running water, and was eventually destroyed in the 60s to make way for a new public park and a railway. So the main problem today is that residents in similar communities like North Preston, whose ancestors fought with the British in the American Revolution in exchange for land and freedom in Canada, never received those legal titles of land when they arrived. So 250 years later, many of the descendants are in a precarious situation where they are paying tax on the land that they cannot legally transfer to their children, build on further, or access housing grants, which has left many residents in fear of a similar situation to what happened to Africville, having to them now without clear legal title of ownership.
It blows my mind, you know, being from Nova Scotia and knowing the communities and speaking to so many people that the system is set up for the community to fail the way it is right now. And that really blows my mind. Quickly, we have about 45 seconds. Nobellum, please tell me what you're doing with this initiative.
So another organization which I'm a part of and has been pivotal in this community building process is Nobellum. It is a not-for-profit social enterprise dedicated to carving out a space in the technology industry to increase diversity and inclusion for Black and Indigenous people of color. Our goal is to establish networks and initiatives that support and create at least 100 Black businesses in STEM by 2025. And we plan to do this through strategic partnerships, which we have obtained with institutions such as the University of Toronto and Black Business Initiative in Nova Scotia. This year, we plan to roll out a multi-tiered pilot program that includes the Innovathon Skills Building Series, Pitch Competition, and the Innovator Bridging Program. These programs will aim to provide opportunities to aspiring entrepreneurs interested in gaining access to foundational training in business, technology, and mentorship, led by Black leaders in collaboration with the U of T faculty and a diverse network of business leaders from across Canada.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You truly are a leader. That's Brian Provo, everybody, and thanks again for being with us.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, brother. Good to see you. All right, we're coming back with more BT on your Monday morning.